All right, so this is episode 2 at Break at the Lake. It's going to be the Moto edition. We actually have our first special guest, which I would have never thought this would be our first guest, but it happened to be on 4th of July. Thanks for showing up. Longtime friend, big-time moto enthusiast, Dave Deringer. This is your first podcast?
Yeah, I've been invited to many, but I haven't done them for certain reasons. But yes, first one. So stoked. You show up to this one, Break at the Lake, obviously in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. You couldn't find a parking spot. Pretty normal this time of the year. We're going to talk about Jenneration MX, which is a business that I mentioned in the first episode that I own, that I created, that you encouraged me to create. We'll talk about that in a minute, but I'm pumped you're here. Maybe we could talk about some of the beer spraying stories too at Lake Geneva. That's up to you. It's kind of weird. We hung out the last few weeks. We went boating about 2 weeks ago. We went golfing last weekend, and now we're hanging out this weekend.
This is craziness. We went boating on Lake Geneva. Remember what I told you? If you're not going wide open, you're not boating or something like that. But we had a good time that day. Seriously good time. And then we just did Hawks View. Do you remember your score?
Well, you added about 10 strokes to it, so it was a 113. But, yeah.
A lot of great shots, a lot of bad shots.
The last 5 holes were ugly.
Tough. But good times for sure. Super stoked to have you. Jenneration MX, obviously one of these businesses that I own. We're going into like its season, right? I know we only do one race a year, which is one of the biggest fair races in the country. I see others growing, and I think you can speak to this, the specifics of Lake County. You've been a part of it for quite a long time, but it's been running like 30, I think I said 36 years.
35, 36, right in there for sure. Closing
on 40. This was one of the best fair races at one time, right? A lot of pro riders used to hit it on their way through. I think we've done a good job of bringing it back to what it is. It's unfortunate we don't do more races. Maybe we could do more, but I want you to talk a little bit about the history of it and your attachment to it and the years of racing. And I think you got to mention some of the riders that have actually been through over the years. And I can talk about Jenneration as, one of my businesses that you've been heavily involved in, which I appreciate. So yeah, tell us your story of Lake County / Jenneration. Yeah, Lake County started, I don't know the exact year. It had to be late 80s, early 90s. I moved here in 94 from SoCal. I actually met your dad at Maplehurst. Yeah, I remember. You probably don't remember me. Well, I remember the story. You were a kid. You were like 8 or 9. But then I went to Lake County as a fan in 94 for the first time, and I was blown away. I was like, wow. Then I went back in 95, and I noticed the announcer wasn't very good, and I was announcing at Azzy at the time. And I walked up to the promoter, and I'm like, you need an announcer. And he's like, get away, kid. Beat it. And then I showed up in 96, and I'm like, you need an announcer. And he's like, you're right, I do. And he handed me the mic. And I did some of the TV stuff that night, more of the interviews off the track after the race. Yeah. And I met Ryan Clark there that night, actually. He did pretty good. And I could go on a whole story with him, but we became really good friends. And now he has a supercross team, and I help him out with that. Team Solitaire. Stuff like that. Yep. Yeah, Team Solitaire. So, but that's where I met him. But then with you, well, anyways, I should go back. So I announced Lake County from 96, still until present. I missed 1 year last year because I had to go to a Yamaha event. That's the only one I really missed. But we took a break in 08. I think it was. Schaefer had quit. He was over it, and no one had taken it over. Somewhere in 08, sound right? 09? It sat for a couple years. Our first year bringing it back was 2015, I believe. I don't remember it that long. 2015. I think the last year they raced there was 2012. I don't remember it being that off that long. But either way, I've announced there the entire time. Pete Reich was actually there before me, and we did it together for a while. And then I kind of took over sole possession of announcing there. And it's one of my favorite events. It's local. It's our backyard. The track is always cool, supercross, arena cross style. The crowd is massive. Still growing. The purse was $20,000 back in the day when Bill Sparks was putting on that event. And that's what got the guys from around the country, big name dudes. And if you listen, even still to this day, guys talk about Lake County,
Brayton was talking about it on Mathis's podcast maybe
I
a
heard
month
that.
or two ago.
Yep.
Jason Thomas has mentioned it before.
He's raced it.
He did race it in 05, and he was sitting on the tailgate of his truck. He didn't qualify for one of the main events, and I walked up to him. I'm like, what do you think? He's like, this is more stacked than Anaheim.
Yeah.
He couldn't believe the amount of talent at Lake County. So Lake County has a special place in the heart for me. And then when they had that little break, Jake and his boss were involved in it for a year or two with Woodstock.
Yeah, correct. That was 2015.
Okay, so that's when you took over.
Yeah.
Well, the fair came to me one day, and they're just like, I think we need to go a different direction. Do you want to take it over? And I just got too much on my plate.
Right.
Do I want to be involved 100%, but do I want to take it over? No. But I said, I think I got the guy for you. And that's when I called you probably on the way home that night. And I said, hey, there's an opportunity here, and I think you'd be really good at it, and I'll help you do it.
Yeah. So obviously I did most of the organization and help in running the race with Woodstock, which was a great learning experience for me. We got to work together. I got a cool picture of us doing an interview together. I think I got an orange shirt on. You might actually be wearing that shirt, but that first year that we brought it back in 2015, we exposed Lake County Fair racers, spectators to the full show, right? Because back in the day, it was like Pro, A, B, and they had four-wheelers, I think. Maybe some plus classes.
Yeah,
so it's like 9 total classes. I know in like the years I raced it was a long night with not a lot of racing, but it was a fun night, right? Like,
sure, absolutely.
Now we show up, we got like 17, 18 classes, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but we're giving the kids the opportunity to get out there and do some racing, which I think is cool. But we exposed the fairgrounds in 2015 with Woodstock MX, to that whole thing, right? You got the grandma, you got the grandpa, the aunt, the uncle, little Johnny's out there racing, and like the fair loved that.
High school friends, girlfriend,
Massive,
boyfriend, whatever,
yeah.
You know what I mean? So they're all there, and they're at the fair. They can go get a corn dog and popcorn and ride the Ferris wheel and go watch Monster Truck if they want to for a few minutes. But then they come and watch motocross, and they all say, this is the best show. We loved it. Of course, there's some crashes. There's some great racing. There's all sorts of stuff. The kids on the Pee-wees.
Yeah, the crowd goes nuts.
Everyone just loves it. So it just keeps continuing every year. And I'm stoked that you're running it. I'm stoked you're working with the fair and doing that. A lot of sponsors have helped you out the last few years as well. So and that people could still jump on. You know, they're going to have time to jump onto this one for 2024. So I love being a part of it, still be a part of it. If you told me you can't come and whatever, I'm still going to be there no matter what, because it's my favorite event.
I don't think that would ever happen. We missed you last year. Pete did a great job for us. I mean, he really did, and would have him back in the event that you couldn't do it. Obviously, we love you when you do it. There's history there. I think you deserve the mic there more than anybody. I want to talk about the text message that you sent me with John, who was running the fair. This is how this went down. 2018, I created Jenneration MX with the idea of taking Jenneration MX to Walworth County Fair and running a series. Worked really close with that board in Walworth. Obviously, we could have still done Lake County, right? I think that was the plan. But what happened was the fair board at Walworth County didn't, I guess, agree, right? I think we missed it by like 1 vote to do a motocross race, fair race at Walworth County. So that created this business just sitting stale, get a text message from you and John at the time, like, all right, enough's enough, like, do the race. So we pulled it off inside of 30 days. I was still with Woodstock at the time, but some things happened with that business where they didn't want to do the racing anymore. And with the help of Dan and Doug Jackson and, of course, you, we pulled it off, right? That was a pretty cool experience. So 2018 would have been Jenneration MX's first year. But then we dealt with COVID. So we actually were off 1 year with no fair. Then they did a mini fair. We didn't do it, if you remember.
Yep.
Which I think wasn't a great event for them. I think motocross is one of the strongest events for them. Stands speak for that. They're packed.
For sure.
I know
and
you
they
weren't
brought
there
in
last
a
year.
whole new aluminum structure just for you where the north end grandstands, excuse me, I need that water cane. The north end grandstands were.
That's good water.
There we go.
Now we're sharing drinks.
The north end grandstands is where we actually used to be too, before you came in, and those grandstands are massive. Well, they put you in the south arena, and they brought in some portable grandstands, if you remember.
Yeah, it was terrible. Couldn't even see over the fence.
Couldn't see over them, packed them.
Yeah.
People were standing everywhere. So then they built grandstands. They claimed it was $200K for those grandstands.
Yeah, it was a big number. I don't know
if it was there, whatever, it doesn't matter. But those things are still filled to this day, plus standing room only. So they've actually catered to you for that, because for what you're saying is it's one of their biggest events, right? They give you your own arena, fencing around the arena, your own grandstands. Yeah. So that shows you how big this event is for 2 days of the year.
Yeah. So last year you weren't there, and I wish you would have. You would have loved it, but we had a curfew issue, right?
I
so
heard
it was like
about
a whole
it.
thing, and
I was in Vail, Colorado at the time, and my phone was blowing up. Lake County and cops, and Kurt's going crazy, and it is a mess. And I was like, oh my God, I couldn't believe it. So.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. I think we missed like 5 classes. One was the pro class, which was a disappointment, but I think them guys were okay with it. They got paid anyways, like they were happy. But the next morning we met with them, and I would tell you that was probably one of the strongest, best conversations I've ever had with that fair board. And this will be my 11th year being there, right? So I think we created a really good relationship from that situation. I actually spent some time with them in like November, I think, about, well, should we move it to Friday and Saturday?
Yeah.
And I think that would be a good idea for Jenneration MX. I think that's a terrible idea for Lake County Fair. In the history of it,
true.
Everybody knows it was the kickoff. Thursday was never really good, but now it's probably better.
Yes.
So I spent some time with them on a call, and I had to be honest with them on both sides. I'll take more riders on Saturday, longer curfew, whatever. But I don't know that that's good for you guys.
Yeah, and I don't know what events they have on
I don't
Friday,
think
Saturday.
they would fill the stands like we do.
But we've always been Wednesday, Thursday, and we've always had massive crowds,
Right.
Massive rider turnouts. So that's what makes this race very unique also across the country, is that it is on a Wednesday, Thursday, because you don't never see that anywhere else.
Yeah, but where can a guy like Michael Hicks pick up $3,000 in the middle of the week if he's traveling from Washougal to Unadilla or whatever it is,
Totally.
right? Like, that's huge for these privateer guys that are traveling around the country on a shoestring, right?
Plus, he can hit another event on a Friday or Saturday because
on that weekend off,
because he's not at Lake County, right? So he's got a Wednesday, he's got a Thursday, probably find something on a Friday for sure.
Which used to be Lake Geneva Raceway.
It did. Oh my God! If you want to go into that story, we raced at Lake Geneva's on Fridays.
Yeah,
I'll bring up my friend Tommy. I know you're over the years we've been on a wave with that.
We know that you're not going to get a plug in without dropping Hoffman
for sure. But we would go Lake County, Lake Geneva, Mendota, Redbud on Sunday. It was insane, and we had a blast doing that. But you're racing 5 days of the week.
And the racers don't race like that anymore.
It's gone.
They spend too much time doing a reel for Instagram.
Correct.
I don't think that makes them money, though.
For the big guys, it does, but it's
to get a lot of likes.
You gotta get some likes, man. Get some follows.
So Lake County Fair coming up, right? July 24th, 25th. You're going to be back on the mic. I know yesterday we were texting back and forth, like pit bike, huge class for us. We always hook them up, whether it's a purse of some kind for them or even a dash for cash that pays them some money. We take care of those guys. We got an $8,000 purse, which is what it's been over the last couple of years. That's something that I commit to doing for them, which you're right. At one point it was $20,000, but we don't have Ted Nielsen behind it. I wish Ted, if you're listening, you're probably not we'll take a check.
I saw him yesterday actually, but the moto scene for him isn't what it used to be. Plus he co-opted that with the brands. So he was getting money from Yamaha, Suzuki, Honda, Kawasaki to put on that event. And that went to Sparks. Sparks created that $20,000 purse. We don't have that anymore. It's amazing you're even taking $8K out of your pocket to bring these guys in, but it shows what you're willing to invest because you know the turnout and the payout and the rider turnout and the fans and sponsorships is going to bring that back to your pocket. So
Yeah, and I think we got to recognize Bill Sparks too, right? Like for a second. Yep. The dude put together one of like, it was the best race.
Without a doubt.
I mean, and I don't know whatever happened there, like what turned over from Sparks. Maybe he got tired of it.
He did. And he asked me actually at one time if I wanted it. And again, I wasn't really ready. I definitely wasn't ready then.
Right.
Shane Schaefer was all about it. And so Shane stepped in. Shane did it for, I don't know, he could tell us, I would say 7 years-ish. And then he took a break there for a year or two, I think, before you took off there. We'd have to look at that timeline. But Bill was very, very into it. I was his probably number 2 guy. We did a program every year.
Yeah.
We would line up the riders with local dealers, Bonsai, Cyclecraft.
Yeah.
Young America at the time was in Madison. They sponsored riders. Sportland 2 later on was Sportland 2.
Yeah, that was like the 2012 when I went. He was the guy.
Correct.
Sportland 2.
Rock River, it was before their time. I know I'm forgetting someone, but we would hook up. Oh, Arlington Motorsports. He's a used shop down in Arlington Heights. He always sponsored a guy. So they would pay the Josh Demuths.
Yep.
Rest in peace, Josh. The Tyler Evans.
Yep.
Remember?
Tiger Lacey.
Tiger. Oh my God. We've
That's
just
3
named
in a row.
3 guys that are not here
not
with us
good.
anymore. That's crazy. Tiger. That's awesome that you said that. So he would stay with you, but he borrowed my bike, and he would come home with cash, and he loved hanging out here. And his brother Race, I met them as a little kid here because of Lake County Fair. You and I have met a ton of guys because of Lake County Fair. Remember Isaiah Johnson came out here with Keith Johnson, Ryan Clark, Gio Tedesco came out here.
Yep.
I mean, I could go through names all day long. Go back to before me was Junior Jackson.
Jeremy Buell. Jimmy
Buell. Gaddis won one year. That's the first year I went was 94, I believe, when I saw Gaddis win.
Mike Zont.
The Zont brothers.
Paycan. Tom.
Aaron Ezrans. He did very well there. Carter Bussey. Kenny Mosh. Derek Benz.
A lot of local guys are killing it.
DJ Hacker. So, everybody, Mike Wendricks is a huge supporter. He'll show up and race pit bike, and he's been at every one of them. Not lately. He's dual citizenship between here and Lake Havasu, but so many people have helped us
big time
and been supporters and told their friends. Wendricks really comes to mind because he kind of lives over that way and had a ton of people there, family, friends. So many names. I wish we should have brought one of the old programs that I still have and looked through some of those names, because the people that have been at this race, taking home money, Tommy Pavolny.
Jimmy Pavolny,
James Pavolny, absolutely. Did well here many years. So the year that you got a podium on the 4-stroke one year in the rain.
It's
what
like
year was
02.
02?
Yeah, 02, I think. 01, 02, somewhere. That's on a
125 Pro, 250 Pro. And
I did not make the 125 main, made the 250 main in the 4-stroke class, which was like me, Jeff Willow, Hoffmaster, and like a couple dudes.
Sure.
Some chick like made me like some weird furry helmet I think I wore in that race. Who knows? But that was a good year for me. I actually rode the Dash for Cash, and it was raining in that. And Junior was like grenading himself. Like, I think he crashed like 3 times in that race. He was on the tail end of his career though, so he was doing a lot of crashing. Kind of like the time he took out the tower at the Fort Worth Arena Cross, but that's a whole nother story. But I want to say like 2000, 2001, 2, somewhere in there. I was on a YZ. That was the last time I was there for sure.
You're a Bonsai rider, right?
Big time
Team Millennium.
Yeah. That was. I went back in 05. Remember, we went to Loretta's that year and twisted my knee up there.
That's right. Well, you were partying the night before, so I was mad at you.
Yeah, I think I drank that every day before and every day after and every day at Loretta's and still race, which was ridiculous, but
it was
really weird time in my life. Thank God 3 years later I was having a kid.
There he is right there. No, that was all those memories. Amazing. the riders, the tracks. Schaefer built some incredible tracks. Now you got Curry doing it.
Track Solutions for sure.
Yeah.
Killing it.
Jake's done some at 980.
Jake's done a good job.
He did
for sure.
that sand track at the South. Your first year, I think it was.
Yeah, sand rollers.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
the people loved it, and it was amazing. So he did a good job on that. And everyone in between, I'm sure. Grantham did a couple as well.
Grantham's helped out, brought equipment, did a lot of work.
Yep.
Tyler Vicala.
Yes, Vicala did a couple too.
We've had a lot of help from a lot of good people, and this is, again, like, I couldn't do it by myself. I think I give the same speech every year, and I don't know that we'll have time for it this year, so this is a good thing we're doing this now. But from the Welters,
absolutely,
to, you know, the Cicero family, to the Richter family, to all of the people that flag and help with scoring and tallying, even Marshall, Lynn, Meehan, and John. Sure. We should get John on a podcast. Man, that would be a good one. Could never do it without you guys. Kelly, you know, just, it takes a team for sure. And even before it was my time, it wouldn't be what it is today without what those people did for the race.
Edgerton.
Yeah, Edgerton with the gate, Fransky. I mean, the list goes on, right? I don't know that we could name every person, but they know who they are. They put the work in, and I appreciate them to no end for sure. The sponsors have been huge. You know, Tony Kutzler, who is a longtime moto dude, great rider. We've raced each other. We talked on the phone the other day for quite a while. That guy's doing a lot of good stuff in his life. He just sends a check every year.
Wow.
Like, he just loves it, right? Like, he loves the sponsorship. He helps out some dudes locally that race. I don't even know if those guys are any good, but, like, he doesn't care. He wants to help them, right?
Sure.
And he's helped us year over year, and I'm thankful for that. And BA Solutions, Law Tigers, Woodstock, KTM, even after I left them, they continue to help. You know, Doug Jackson, Dan Jackson, they're behind it. I mean, I don't know, Dave, there's so many people that are on that list, from Decal Works and some of the industry sponsors of, you know, Ryan and Jason at EVS. And we should get Todd Lentz to write us a check because he's got all the money in the world. Doesn't he? I think he does. But EVS has been huge for us, you know, and I know that my relationship with Ryan and Jason, that helps. But even before those guys were there, they were helping out. And there's a lot of industry people, you know, that you've brought to the table, and other people that work with us and that we work with, you know, that have helped out from the sponsorship side. And some of those same people are on board this year, you know, which is good.
Yeah, that's cool. And let's actually talk about 24 event and sponsors and riders. Before, I was just thinking, when you were naming some guys, Dylan Martin, Ross did very well at Lake County over the years. Yeah.
Dylan was a beast, but he just never really did what Ross could do. I don't know why, but he was a great rider as well.
Absolutely. So what's the plan for 24? Let's talk about, I mean, we're 3 weeks away, and I'm sure this will come out and people are wondering what's going on. Are you going to do a Tuesday practice still, Wednesday, Thursday race? What are we doing?
So I really feel like the Tuesday practice thing is a good idea. I feel like we're going to do it. I spent some time with Curry on the phone, making sure that he's okay with that, right? We give Track Solutions the opportunity to have some say in this, because Tuesday practice makes us have a little more work to do.
Absolutely.
I love the Tuesday practice for a lot of reasons. It does help speed things up through the race. So, you know, the lap times, like last year, we dealt with some issues with that, but because people are more familiar with the track, we don't have to run practices long. So Tuesday practice could be a thing. I'm not going to say that it is for sure, but then obviously normal stuff, Wednesday, Thursday, gates open at 2. Sign up is literally until we take the last rider. We'll never turn anyone away unless it's like 8:30 and we're already into second motos. But get through practice, opening ceremonies. We want to recognize the people that are going to be there, but we should be dropping the first gate by 7:30, right?
Perfect.
So for any of the fans that are coming, that want to join, you don't have to be there at 5 o'clock like some do. Encourage you to be there earlier if you want a seat, but we're going racing by 7:30. So again, both days are typically the same, so those times will stay consistent. We'll be posting that stuff on social media as well, so people can actually see that screenshot and put it in their pocket. But what else is happening, right? I mean, there's so many things we could be doing, Dave, but we have a long list of classes, and we try to give the riders the ability to ride more than one class. And also there are some points chasers with the District 17, and we are a part of that. So we kind of have to run certain classes.
I have no problem with it. The last few years that we've done it, it's been tremendous. It is longer, of course, but you get little Johnny on a PW50 all the way up to
Rev.
Exactly
Rev.
who I was thinking about. Rev in the plus 40 or 50 class.
I think we like created a class, an additional plus class. I think it's like 50A or 50. I don't even know if you're an A rider when you're 50. I don't know. We could ask DJ that. But yeah, we made a class for them so they can, they don't want to be out there with the 25.
What about women's? We doing women's? We've been on the fence, off the fence with that.
We hadn't done women's in a few years. I think that rider count is down on a local level. I could ask Gerhard. I think he'd help me with that. But the few women that I know that were racing a lot one is old enough to drink now, and the other one has a kid.
I saw that.
And Congrats. Brianne Wolf was one of those girls, not one of those two, but she's like going in a different direction in her life too. I don't think she really likes to race as much as she used to, but Sutton Skodris, maybe she shows up. I mean, that family's going.
Some of them can race either the 125s or the 85s or the 65s. The younger girls.
One time, them girls took a stance and they filled that gate. That was pretty cool. I want to go. I want to say like 2017.
Sounds right.
Be great if they showed up, right? I would love to have them for sure. But again, if there's not a class on the list, but there's enough people there to put a class together, the girls will make it happen for them.
Sure.
Sponsors are pretty much the same, right? Like these people have stayed consistent with being behind it, from the Kutzlers to the Law Tigers to BA Solutions to obviously Curry and Fransky. I don't have the list in front of me, but we'll certainly take another sponsor on. We would encourage those sponsors to utilize the opportunity to set displays up in the area by the grandstands and display their products. We had a heating and air company. Casey Wells set that up. They set some stuff up last year. So
that's right. A few years ago, you had a car dealership. Was it Napleton, right?
Yeah, Napleton was big. They brought in some cool cars, and that was that Bam Baby guy.
That's right.
Forget his name, Jody.
Yes.
Those were some cool races for sure. You had the Bam Baby bus. We need. So
you still need a title sponsor. You got a ton of supporting sponsors, but you still need a title sponsor.
Yeah, we really don't have a title sponsor at the moment. I did talk to John at Southeast, but I haven't heard back on that. So
got a little time. Maybe someone hears this and they're interested. So
yeah, 980 tracks.
980. He'd want to be out there building. He'd want to be out there.
But the race is coming up. 3 weeks from yesterday, July 24th, 25th. We'll continue to post and share on social media. I brought some flyers for you so you could take them to Redbud. Dave's going to be out there mixing it up with the privateer guys. We want to pay him. Someone's got to chip in and take Michael Hicks's money. He's won $6,000 off us over 2 years, but the dude's good on a dirt bike.
He said he's coming. Isaiah Clark says he's coming. We'll see. Bubba Pauly reached out to me, said what's going on. I'll maybe get Cheyenne up here. So there's a bunch of guys that are interested, that are talking about it already, and that's why I've been bugging you the last probably 2 weeks for a flyers, because I've been getting hit up by a few guys. What's going on with Lake County? What are we doing Lake County? What's the purse? Blah, blah, blah. When is it? So I'm like, Kurt, you got to get me this thing. So,
well, we're always going to do Lake County until we're not, right? Like there's been conversations about me wanting to sell that thing off and move away from it. And then there's days where like, I think I'd be a fool to do that. My kid's getting old enough. He could run this thing in a couple of years. I don't really know where it's going to go, but we're doing Lake County for the next couple of years. Like I'm all in with the fair. I got a great relationship with them, and I don't think there's any reason why we shouldn't do it at this point.
No, you have to continue it. It's such a legend of a race, and we'll keep making it as good as we can and put everything into it. We put our heart and souls into it. We're there. You're there with Curry probably 2 weeks earlier. I really show up about Saturday or Sunday before then and give you a little input, even though you don't want it.
We'll knock all the berms down.
That's not the case, but things happen, and I see things. I've been in a lot of races. Do I race anymore? Not at all. But do I go to a billion races and see things and understand it? 100%.
You're racing this year, though, right?
No.
Okay.
So no, I wouldn't want to race that. I don't think I ever have. I've never raced Lake County because I've been on the business side of it, either promoting, announcing, or whatever. And I truly enjoy that now. I suck on a bike, always did. You've seen me race a few times.
You and Dante, Sunset.
Dante, yeah, my boy.
Saw it firsthand.
But I enjoyed racing, but I was never good at it. And I broke a few bones, and I was just like, I got to find a different way into this business. And that's where I landed, and that's what I love. So this is, to me, it's still, even though I'm not on the track, it's still my favorite thing.
Yeah, no. And Dave, I know that you and we've been friends for a long time, and I appreciate all your input. And it's a stressful week. So if I ever was like, man, I'm sick of this.
Oh, we've butted heads a ton, and it's always during that week. I get it,
Everybody's under a lot of pressure, but
for sure. Makes it better.
Even though you're just announcing, and maybe that seems like it maybe is really easy to do, and it's not. I've announced. Typically, I need like 6 or 9 beers in me before I start announcing. But you do a great job, and I've got text messages from people that say, we love when Dave is announcing. So that says a lot for you, and I wouldn't want anyone else to do it for sure because of your history and your connection to it, and you have brought us a lot of good riders over the last couple of years. And I hope that happens this year.
Yeah, I do too. I'll work on that really hard in the next few weeks. Last night I was at a 4th of July party in Spring Grove where Kelly lives and her family and stuff like that. And a guy came up to me and said, I want you to announce at ASI the program in a few weeks. And I was like, huh? And he's like, I need you there. I want you there. So I'm going to make my debut back at ASI about 15 years after I last announced there. That's next week after Millville. I can't believe it, truly.
Yeah, so Kevin Richter, I would call him my right-hand man in this thing because we lived together before Lake County, literally. He loves ASI. The Richter family loves ASI.
He does, and he's not the one who asked me. And I've been bugging him for a few years.
Yeah, that's interesting because he does a lot of the gathering of the money, right? The fundraising for that. And he does a good job with it, but that's interesting. I'm glad you're doing it. I don't know that Kevin's going to be very happy because he typically does some of the mic work. So you're going to have to work that out with him.
I haven't told him yet. I seen him before the guy asked me. But I'll promote Lake County at ASI as well. So that'll be cool to get a few people there. And I'm going to try to get a few guys to go to ASI as well too. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be fun next week. But Lake County can't wait. Name your sponsors one more time. Who are we?
Kutzler's at the top of the list right now, right? I mean, I can't say enough about that guy. He's been great, but everyone from Law Tigers, BA, Down and Dirty, they help out. Fransky, I think it's like Ride House. It's a real estate thing, so that for sure. There's other people in the mix. I can't really say that they're on the flyer yet or not because they haven't made the commitment. They show an interest, which is important. We'll take any sponsors we can get for sure. That money goes right back to the riders, not our bank account. Yeah. That's kind of the point, right? You've seen it over the years. The purse will be $8,000, and then all of a sudden, the week of the event, it's $12,500, right? So it's not like we keep the money and go on vacation. We give it back to the riders. We give it to the kids. We paid over $1,000 in gift cards to the kids last year.
Your trophies are amazing.
Yeah, we do a really good job with the trophies we have for the last couple of years. I think that's important, even though they're expensive. It matters, right? TI Designs has done them. He's done a nice job for us. So.
Sponsors can have banners. They can have shout-outs on the mic.
Interviews if we have time.
They can have interviews. I'm forgetting something, but they get a lot of social media exposure as well. You can tag them in all the social media. So there's a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? A lot of depth or whatever you want to say for the sponsors to come in at a relatively cheap price, honestly, for a crowd that gets 8,000 a night, something like that.
Right.
They'll get a lot of exposure, and we'll make that happen for them. So it's cool that some of them, I guarantee someone will jump on board. Hey, this is the first ever Lake County Fair podcast. So
it's crazy.
I mean, that's a step in the right direction as well.
Yeah, so we're 3 weeks away from yesterday, right? We're going to get geared up and start putting some work into the track. I would say follow the social media. We don't hide it, even though that would be the way that I would prefer to do it. I think it's best, and you're part of that, is sharing the progression over the next couple weeks. Yeah. We'll make a confirmation on the Tuesday night thing. I love the idea. Admittedly, I don't think Curry does because it's a little extra work, but I think we could persuade him. So, we want to mention Joeler too, Robbie Joeler, who has donated the equipment to some degree with the help of Grantham last year. We appreciate both those guys. I talked to Robbie the other day, great family. He's all in to help out and continue to help out. So he'll be getting his machine out there in like the next week or two, right? Probably, I would say sometime next week. So
Burris has helped you a lot over the years.
Yep. That's I'm struggling for his name right now, but Burris has helped us, whether it be equipment, light towers, the scissor lift, right? That's right. Those guys have been good too. So it'd be hard for me just to name them all off right now, but I know those guys are coming, right? Like that race is coming to their backyard. They're all going to be there, and we're going to put on another great event. I leave there every time, Dave, saying, wow, we killed it. And I can only hope that that's the same thing for us this year, and I believe it will be. I think the team that we have, I know the team that we have is one of the best teams that could put a race on.
For sure. We'll make it happen for sure. Hey, I saw Beak this morning. He said Chase will be at Lake County hanging out. He's going to watch. Might be a little loud for him. He's still, struggling with some stuff, but he wants to be there and can't wait to come to Lake County.
Yeah,
so that's going to be really cool.
Texting with him and his Rich and Chase's mother. We want to do something for him, whether it's recognizing him, helping him with whatever we can. I know that kid was like
bad shape.
It was bad. Yep. And for where he's at today, it's huge. That's a miracle, but we want him to be there, and we want to be able to highlight him as well. He's a good family, knowing Rich a long time. So
yeah, for sure.
I think Rich might even race Lake County C-Class, maybe. I don't know. But, yeah, we're excited, man. If you got anything you want to add, we can wrap this up.
Hey, it's the 35th Annual Lake County Fair Stadium Motocross coming to Grays Lake, Illinois, July 24th and 25th. It's a Wednesday and Thursday, $8,000 pro purse. We want to see you guys there.
That's it. Appreciate you, Dave. Thank you.